Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Eddie, thanks for joining us today. And just real quick, I want to say to everyone today, we've got a massive episode of the Believe You Me podcast. Of course, we've got soon to be MMA fighter Eddie Hall, world's strongest man, and many, many other titles. We've also got Bobby Green joining us and Michael Venom Page. But that's later in the show. Eddie, how are you, brother? Thank you for your time today.
I'm good, man, and you're welcome. I'm a massive fan of yourself, as you know, and we've hung out a little bit on the scenes. So, yeah, nice to be on.
That is correct. I'm seeing you pop up on my feed a lot lately. I've seen you with Tom Aspinall doing a bit of training.
Yes, so I sponsor Tom through Beast Farm, so my supplement company. Yeah, so I've got my own supplement company called Beast Farm, do like protein and pre-workouts and stuff, and we sponsor Tom. And it was all about the same time I signed a contract to fight in Qatar in MMA. So it was just like worked in really well. I was like, right, I've just signed Tom. So I went up and trained with him for quite a bit, for a number of months. Quite handy.
Yeah. Did I see a video of him kicking you in the leg?
Yeah, not too hard though, but through a pad he did, yeah.
Oh, okay. What's this? Oh, Brian's got it. He's going to stick it on here.
But I do have someone who'll do it. Louis, come on. This guy will give you a leg kick.
Well, this guy. How old are you?
Oh, Jesus, Eddie.
If he goes the correct technique, all shin to thigh just above your knee, that's going to be painful.
Okay, what's my stance then, mate?
That's perfect.
Yeah?
That's perfect. Just stay like that.
Go on.
Oh,
That'll do, Brian. Thank you. The little bastard.
Little bastard. That's what I wanted to say, yeah.
He really went for it. How old was he? About 10?
He was 9 years old. He nearly broke my leg.
Right. So for anyone that doesn't know, Eddie, are you still the world's strongest man?
Well, I mean, technically, once you've won it, you're always the world's strongest man, So, yeah, I am. Let's just say
the world's strongest bastard on planet Earth. How does one become that? I know, obviously, you enter competitions and all the rest of it, but tell me about your journey, your path to becoming who you are today.
So I started lifting weights when I was 14 years of age. And that firstly was like getting into bodybuilding because I wanted to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, get on the bodybuilding scene. And then I quickly found, I think around about 17, that bodybuilding and looks and aesthetics wasn't really my thing. It was strength. So I started lifting these huge weights, started entering strongman competitions. First show at 19. And then I won England Strongest Man at 22, UK Strongest Man at 23, made it to World Strongest Man at 24, and then won the World Strongest Man at 29. And set the 500 kilo deadlift world record along the way just for a laugh.
Wow. So, and for those American listeners, which we're predominantly an American show, even though we're worldwide, we've got a big fan base in Uganda. It's true, we do. 500 kilos, what is that in pounds? That's about
1,102 pounds on the dot.
1,100 pounds. Jesus Christ. Eddie, that is just ridiculous. That is, I mean, were you always a strong guy growing up?
I've always been into sport, so I guess you're always strong if, from 5 years age, I was in a swimming club training 6-7 times a week in a swimming club. So I guess when you've always been in sport, you're always big and strong, aren't you? And I guess, good genetics. So I've always been the big, strong lad wherever I've been.
And what about benching?
So bench press, bit of a tough one because I never actually went for a max bench, but I could do 6 plates aside. So that's 265 kilo. What's that in pounds? Like 600 pounds something. I could do that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I could do that for 6 reps. That was because I never went for a max. So my max would have been around the 720, 740 pounds, something like that.
Wow, unbelievable. How old are you now, Eddie?
36.
36, looking good, but buddy, you're just a pup.
I know, I am really. Yeah.
You are. You're a little cuddly teddy bear. It's easy to say from the other side of the world. Obviously, health and fitness is a massive part of life, and more people should pay attention to it. And I think now it's starting to get, there's a big focus on it. But what would you say to a lot of people? What advice could you give to anyone that's out there and they feel like they're out of shape and they're just too far gone? Because I think that's the mindset for some people, right? They get out of shape, they get a bit depressed, and they just think, what's the point? I'm too fat, for want of a better word.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. When I was at my biggest, I was 196 kilo. So 435 pounds was what I weighed when I was at my absolute biggest. And when you're that size, it's like in order to get to a healthy level, I've got to lose 100 pounds. It just seems impossible. Honestly, like simple shit, like just simple stuff. Like one of the best decisions I ever made was getting a dog and going for a walk every single morning and evening with my dog and just do a mile walk. And it's so good for dropping weight and more so your mental health as well. And then food. Like there's so much bollocks out there at the minute, all these chemicals in and processed foods that they're called. I just stick to the basics, just meat, eggs, vegetables, butter, high fats, just keep the carbs low. Just it's basic shit. And people just get so suckered in with this bullshit in the supermarkets, whereas this is healthy for you. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's not, just eat lots of protein, lots of fats, and you'll be healthy.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, isn't it? Because even like governments come out and say eggs are bad for you, too much meat is bad for you. I always say human beings, as long as they've been around, have been eating animal diets. It's all this new stuff, this new crap, the processed foods. Don't get me wrong. You got to treat yourself now and again. Have some cakes, have some biscuits, have whatever your guilty pleasure may be. But it is pretty simple, to be honest, as you say.
It is. I think people used to ask me what my diet was when I was at my biggest, and it was like 70% clean eating and then 30% cheesecake. That was literally my diet. Whereas now it's like 90% clean eating, 10% cheesecake.
Mine's probably, I would say, 80% clean eating, 20% alcohol.
Yeah.
I just said to my father-in-law, they're just leaving, they were visiting, and I just had a quick protein shake before we started this. And I said to my wife, put half a banana in it. And she said, why only half a banana? I said, well, it's too many carbs. And then she says, it's not. And I said to my father-in-law, joking, I said, I've got to save my carbs for the beer. Yeah,
that's a good point.
I'm joking, but I'm a little bit serious at the same time. So you mentioned your eating there. I saw a video of you and Tom, and he was trying to match what you eat in a day. Take us through an average day of eating for the beast, Eddie Hall.
So right now it's pretty good. Back in the day, not so good. But very balanced diet. I have probably 200 grams of smoked salmon for my breakfast, 2 pieces of sourdough, 300 grams of cottage cheese, 200 grams of carrots, 200 grams of blueberries. That takes us to lunch. Probably about 450 to 500 grams of steak or chicken, 300 grams of rice, 200 grams of veg, and I just smother that with about 5-6 eggs, loads of butter. Snack is, probably another steak or beef jerky or something like that. And again, 200 grams of rice and 200 grams of vegetables. And then evening meal, same as lunch really, just like half a kilo of meat, 300 grams of carbs, 200 grams of veggies. And then I have another meal at night, the classics a meal. And I try and have something fermented before I go to bed. So I'll have like 400 or 500 grams of cottage cheese or Greek yogurt and just a little bit of raisins or something in there. Right.
So that's a lot of food, though. But it is, as you say, it's all, for the most part, it's all natural, clean produce. Yeah.
And I make sure I drink at least 10 liters of water every day.
Yeah, explain that to me, because I try and drink a lot of water. And my wife always goes on at me. She gives me shit. You're obsessed. You're obsessed with drinking water. I'm not obsessed. I'm trying to be healthy.
So I've got a 2.5 liter jug I carry absolutely everywhere with me. So if you see me anywhere in the world, I will have this with me. There's no doubt. And I'll get through 4 of these every day. And it's just so easy. I just know by the time I've sort of mid-morning, I've drunk 1. After lunch, I've got to drink 2. By my third snack, I've got to drink 3. And then I make sure I have my 4th before 8 p.m. So I'm not getting up for a piss all night.
And just explain that to me, because obviously you want to stay hydrated. It's good for your skin and all the rest of it. It helps digestion. For me, a big thing that I'm on right now, I've got my water here. It's not as big as yours. Water with salt. I'm putting a lot of salt in my water because obviously there's all these sports drinks and electrolytes and all the rest of it. It's bollocks. All you need is water with a bit of salt and a bit of lemon juice. But tell me the theory behind drinking such a massive amount of water.
Well, I think just being my size, I sweat a lot, because I run at a higher temperature than most people because of my size. I'm training twice a day, doing it probably equates to about 3.5 hours of training. And then basically, liver and kidneys are a little bit more strained than the average person. So just that extra volume of water just keeps the organs flushed out and everything.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Pretty straightforward. But the pissing in the night is an issue.
It is. But you've got to do it. So
right. Talk to me about mixed martial arts, Eddie, because you're coming in. If I Google your name, it comes up that you're having a 2 versus 1 fight against some influencer brothers. Tell me about how this happened.
So, it started about 8-9 months ago. I got an offer to fight MMA in Qatar against Mitchell Hooper. And that was like a prize fighter kind of thing. And then the second fight would have been against either Brian Shaw or Martin Ford, whoever won out of those two. So it would have been like a dropout scenario, the best of 4 kind of thing. That at the very last minute, the Ministry of Sport in Qatar got arrested for fraud. That all fell through. And I was left with basically 6 months of training and nothing to show for it. So just been talking to loads of different outfits, talking to Misfits, talking to other like Russian and Polish MMA outfits, and I've finally got something in the bank. This first fight will be a 2v1. I'm going to call them children because they're quite small. About 70 kilo, about 5'5", 5'6", about 70 kilo in body weight, but there's 2 of them. They both had a few MMA fights. And I thought this would be a nice start. But the idea being is to do this, and then that will lead to more fights. And it has exactly done that. So people have heard, people have got whispers, and I've had loads of people approaching me now with good offers. So it's done the job.
Yeah, obviously it sounds like it's going to be a bit of fun. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. No. They are literally that small. I don't think they can hurt me. Like even if I stood there and let me kick me as hard as they could, I don't think they could hurt.
70 kilos. If they're trained, they can pack a punch. They can choke you out. I'm going to say 2 UFC fighters at 70 kilos. How long have you been grappling, Eddie?
A good 9 months now.
Oh, a good 9 months.
Might as well be a pro,
Exactly. So what are we going to do? Are you going to just unleash on them 100%? Are you going to knock these out? Or what's the plan?
So, the plan is just to stand and fight. So if I ever hit the floor, got all the sort of experience now just to get up and back to fists. I guess you're right. I guess the best tactic would be concentrate on one, knock him out, and then pick him up and knock the other one out with the body, So, but yeah, concentrate on one and then work out the other second. Like just ignore him for the time being. And that's the only way, really.
And when's that happening and where can we watch?
So June the 7th, World Freak Fight League. So if you look them up on Instagram, all the pay-per-views on there and everything. So
I'm going to watch.
Yeah, it's like a big live stream to it. Awesome, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. You mentioned Martin Ford there, known as you're the world's strongest man. He's the world's scariest man, or the world's most inspirational on Instagram. If you follow him, fucking hell, he doesn't like to lecture, does he? No. he's a great guy, Martin. I worked with him on a film a couple of years ago, and he told me then that he was thinking about a fight. So it must have been what you just mentioned, right?
Probably could have been, yeah. So he was on the Qatar card until he got all squashed. And then, I've been trying to lure him into another fight with myself, but he's just so busy with his film work, which is fair play. Out of the two, that's definitely the better option, isn't it? If you had the choice, you're going to go for that. Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I've got a film role coming up later this year. without bragging, it's my first lead role, so I'm excited.
Oh, wow.
So I'm trying to get into shape for it. So if you could give me some advice, because I've been lifting a lot of weights now, and it's bodybuilding stuff. You know what I mean? Every day I'm just focusing on muscle groups and all the rest of it. But I'm not really making the gains that I'm looking for. What would be some advice that you could give to somebody like me that was trying to get as lean as possible, but get as big as possible? Because I think that's where I'm going wrong. I know about diet, I know about nutrition, but I think I'm starving myself whilst trying to build. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing a lot of fasting. What would you say that's the wrong thing?
I would say if you want to put mass on fasting, stay away from fasting. Super high protein, get lots of fats in there. So ribeye steaks, don't talk about with the fillets or anything. No. So ribeye steaks, cook them in butter, put eggs on them, cook the eggs in butter. If you have vegetables, put butter on the vegetables. Have your potatoes, put butter on the potatoes. Just protein and fats. And use I think the best advice I give you to stay lean is only eat carbs to fuel your training session. So if you train in the morning, eat 150 grams of carbs before your training session. Evening, same again. Other than that, don't eat carbs. That way you won't really store any fat.
Yeah, no, what I've been trying to do is, in my mentality, is lose the fat first, you know what I mean, and then try and build on it from there. But I'm probably doing it all wrong. Talk to me about Tom Aspinall and training with him. So you said you're training. Are you training with Tom and his dad and the whole team?
So, it's like a big outfit. Meeting him in a gym in Liverpool, St. Helens. Just joining the sessions. I've done a few sparring sessions with Tom, actually. That was awakening. Jesus. Just going up, sparring with the lads, doing some of the grappling stuff. The last time I went and trained with Tom, we did 5 2-minute rounds sparring. And that was good fun because, I think he had to, I'm not going to say, obviously he could whoop my ass within a minute, but I think he had to step it up a bit.
He had to work.
He had to work. He definitely had to work. Yeah. No. That you're allowed to say that, Eddie. You're you're the world's strongest man, for crying out loud. I think he would have to work. What do you think about this upcoming fight with him and Curtis Blades? Are you a fan of the UFC? Do you follow the sport? Yeah. So the last time he fought Curtis, he blew his knee out, didn't he? So I think there's going to be a little bit of nerves there for Tom in that respect. There's sort of anything like that happening again. But it's going to be some nice redemption for Tom, I think, because Curtis won, obviously, the last fight, but it's not the right way to win, is it? I mean, it was I can't remember, but it was less than a minute into the fight, I think.
15 seconds.
15 seconds, and he blew his knee out. So Curtis in my mind, couldn't really count that as a win. It was more of it was a doctor's stoppage, I don't know, but that'll be working in the heads of both the athletes, that's for sure. And I know Tom will want to redeem himself and prove that he can beat Curtis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This weekend is UFC 302, Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier. I'm not trying to put you on the spot and test your MMA knowledge. Have you got any thoughts on that fight?
I think Poirier is great. He's a great personality, keeps his head down, not too egotistical. You know what I'm trying to say.
You can get it. Come on, take another try. You've got it, buddy.
I got it. So he's quite humble. He knows his levels, and he looks confident to me. And I think that's with Poirier. That's a good sign.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, so we're going to ask Harrington, our producer, to come on here, and he's going to give you some fan questions from Twitter. So I'm going to apologize in advance for Harrington.
In advance.
He always picks the dumbest questions. I'm like, what is this shit? Okay. I won't get into it. I'm not going to bring it up. But Harrington, are you even there? This was I'm filling time for you to jump on. He's not even here.
I'm here. Eddie,
hey, buddy.
How are you, man?
Hold on.
I'm good.
Can I just say one thing?
Okay.
He wanted to bring on, I won't say who it was, he wanted to bring on some female guests just to be in the background because they're massive fans of yours, Eddie. And he was like, do you mind if I bring on these two girls and they can be in the background and they can ogle all over Eddie? I'm like, well, that's just awkward for everybody.
I bet you're used to it.
I would say yes, but my wife might watch this. So no.
I'm not going to say he's a married man. You know what I mean? We're not trying to get anyone in trouble here. Harrington, what's the first question for Eddie, please?
Yeah, okay. So this one I thought was super interesting. From Scotia Steve, if Eddie makes light work of 2 people at once, will he up the number of people next time? Is it a possibility for 3, 4, 5 guys at a time?
That's a great question. I think I'd have to wait and see how this one goes. Obviously, how much lighter they are than me is a big thing. I think. Let's say they come in at the heaviest at 70 kilo. Combine them both together, I've still got 25 kilos on these guys. So it's a big difference. You just got to wait and see. If I smash these 2 up, then bring more on. Why not?
Just talk to me about what those training sessions look like when you're sparring. Are you bringing in 2 guys to actually spar at the same time?
So I'm quite lucky. I've got a coach, G Oaks, and his son is a European kickboxing champion in K1. So, and they're both, I think one's 100 and something kilo, one's about 90 something kilo. So they're quite big guys. So I've had those 2 mauling me, during the sparring sessions. It's been interesting because they can both bang really hard. So that it's been, I've really had to cover up and sort of bang and move, a lot of footwork. And of course, it means double the cardio because you've got to bang again, move twice. So what I've really had to concentrate on this time around is the cardio more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, when I was training, getting ready for a fight, the cardio was my main focus because once you get tired in a fight, you're done. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I always found it hard to maintain muscle mass and maintain my power and my strength because I was also dieting down to 185 pounds as well. You know what I'm saying? It was an absolute goddamn nightmare. Let me ask you, Eddie, you seem like a very mild-mannered guy. Obviously we only met once at the Arnold Expo and, what I've seen of you online, you seem like a very nice guy, but is there another side to Eddie Hall? Like growing up, were you an angry kid?
I would say yes when I was younger. Yeah. I grew up in Stoke-on-Trent. So, and I worked security on the doors. So I've had my fair share, I'm not going to sit here and tell stories, but I've had to get fisticuffs quite a lot throughout my sort of teenage years, especially.
Yeah. You had to get your hands dirty. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, good. You've got some interesting stories. Have you ever written a book, Eddie? Is that on the cards one day?
I've written 2 books. Yeah, World's Strongest.
Now I feel terrible.
World's Strongest book.
Well, I'm the world's biggest dickhead. Sorry, Eddie. So hold on, the world's strongest book, and what's the other one called?
Strongman, My Story.
Okay. I mean, like, if you were a nice guy, you'd send me a copy. I'd love to read your story.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's my fault, isn't it? Not yours.
I'll send you one of mine.
Okay, brilliant.
And we'll do a little book trade.
Let's do it.
There it is.
Let's do it.
Real quick, and I am interested. Your supplement line. Tell me about your supplement line, Eddie, and how you got started with that. So it's Beast Supplements.
Yeah, Beast Farm. Right. So basically, I've been working with all different companies for a number of years, since before I won the World's Strongest Man. And then it just got to the point in my career, I was like, I've just made so much money for these big companies. And when I'm done, when I'm retired and when I'm sort of away from the social media, I got no benefit at all. So I thought now's the time to invest, build a business, and then put all the effort and work into it. And then I've got something that will grow and live on after I've, fully retired. Maybe my son can take it on. So I thought it was just the right time. I started it in September last year. It's just the right time in my career to do it.
Nice. And I look forward to also receiving some supplements as well when the book comes.
100%.
I'm from Lancashire, mate. I'm always on the tech. I'm always trying to get a freebie.
I'll send it all. There's a product called Big Z. It's getting rave reviews at the minute. And it's a sleep supplement. So you take 3 tablets and it, honestly, everyone that said this took it is like, fuck me, best night's sleep of my life. So I'll make sure you get some.
Perfect. Harrington, question number 2, please.
Okay, so this one is, I believe it's from Scottish Steve. He said, with the direction that combat sports is going, where we're getting sillier and sillier events, do you see a situation where you could fight a tiger, a bear, any kind of an animal? And at what point do you say, no, I'm not fighting, a tiger shark?
I told you, Eddie. I told you.
They're dumb questions.
Yeah. Has that ever happened? Have we ever actually seen a man versus an animal? Have we actually seen that?
Habib Nurmagomedov was wrestling a bear when he was a kid, but
Yes.
a bear with no claws and stuff like that, I don't think so. I don't
think it'll ever happen. I just don't think. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think we'd love to see it. Didn't Mike Tyson once go to a zoo and wanted to fight a big gorilla?
Yeah,
That would have been gold.
This is a very childish question that I'm going to ask, but against a primate, Eddie, do you think you can match the strength of them? And have you ever met anyone that I don't know, you've had to throw them out in a nightclub or whatever, and you're like, fucking hell, this guy's strong? Or is it literally when you get hold of people, you're like, you're all just little weaklings, you're all just little shrimps?
Well, I'll say this, right? So the day I won the World's Strongest Man, I was 430 pounds in body weight. The strongest man on the planet. I could squat 1,000 pounds, deadlift 1,000 pounds, bench press 700 pounds. And you honestly, I felt as though I could literally, walking around, I felt as though I could run through a brick wall. That's how big and strong I felt. But since then, I have actually met and had been in physical contact with a chimpanzee, which are nowhere near the size of the big gorillas, and their grip strength is another level. So I think the fully grown silverback gorillas would outdo a prime Eddie Hall, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and it's very humble of you to say so, but you are correct. Does it? I mean, because what you were saying there about your training, Eddie, and the journey that you've been on, it's a ridiculous amount of discipline and dedication and training and just being single-minded. Right, this is a lifetime's work that you've achieved, and you've built an incredible life and a brand around yourself. Do you feel, because mixed martial arts now is starting to get the real recognition that it deserves, do you feel like strongman competitions and the world that you're involved with gets the recognition that it deserves?
I don't think it does. I think it's a great platform. For me, winning the World's Strongest Man gave me the keys to the doors to open up my career, I'll be honest. But I know people that have won the World's Strongest Man and then gone back to work full-time jobs. So you have got to be able to capitalize on that, because that little bit of exposure that Strongman gives you is great. But unless you've got the personality to expand on that, then you might as well not bother winning it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same in everything with life. For me, when I had my eye issue, I was fighting. I've got no complaints about the money that I earned, but I'm like, I've got to set myself up outside of fighting whilst I was doing it, because when you're retired, no one cares. You're yesterday's news. And I think you're a great example. And without sounding like a wanker, I'm a great example. You've got to be cognizant of building your brand and trying to open other doors with whatever field that it is that you're in, so.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you've done it amazing with the film stuff. I've done film work as well. Just started. I've got 2 movies this year, 1 next year.
Nice.
And I even went to the point of when I won the World's Strongest Man, I went and did acting lessons once a week, and I did that solid for 3 years. And it's eventually led to somewhere, but you've got to work at it. Nothing's handed to you.
No, absolutely right. Okay, I'm going to apologize in advance. Harrington, last question. Nothing about animals.
Okay. Well, I pocketed the ultra silly one. For this one, I thought was pretty good. From Popcorn Catalyst, he said, if you had one more go at the World's Strongest series just to settle the score with Thor, would you do it? I know you won that time. Will you if you could?
I mean, look, I could go back to Strongman and I could probably do very, very well. I made the decision to win the World's Strongest Man once and walk away. And people call me a pussy and people say, you're a shithouse for doing that. But honestly, that was the hardest decision for me to do. The easy thing would have been to stay in the sport and win more World's Strongest Man titles. That would have been the easier choice for me. that sounds daft to say, but like making myself walk away and ride that wave and get healthy and start getting into films and building my brand was so much more important to me than going and winning more World's Strongest Man titles. Where'd you go with it? I won the World's Strongest Man. I lifted half a ton. If you win it twice, well done. 3 times, well done. Like you go and pull 501 kilo, 502 kilo, 503 kilo. Who gives a f-? You've once you're the world's strongest man, you're the world's strongest man. Once you've lifted half a ton off the floor, you've done it. You've been there and got the trophy, haven't you? So why?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, though, because it takes a lot of balls to do that as well, because obviously it's not easy to do what you did. But when you are who you are or someone else in your field, that is their life. And to a certain degree, that's their comfort zone. When you got to branch out outside of that, take on new challenges, do something new, explore other avenues and test yourself as a human being. That takes real balls to do that.
It does. It really does. It sounds daft to say that I actually did the hard choice in retiring, but it was the hard choice, but it's paid off much better than what would have been if I'd have stayed in Strongman. Put it this way, Michael, I think winning the World's Strongest Man, I think the prize money this year was, I'm gonna hazard a guess, it was like $70,000. Yeah, and that's for a year's work, a year's commitment. Of course, you can earn more money from other shows, but it's just where the money is the aftermath. That's a definite in Strongman. You only make money off your personality. As I say, it's that key to open the doors to progress. Because if you go and do Strongman, let's say I did it over 10 years and then you retire, all you've got is trophies. All that business opportunity, all those movies are gone. So you have got to pick a path, and it's hard to do so.
Yeah. Well, very well said, Eddie. And you're an inspiration to a lot of people. And I think a lot of people listening to that, it's good for them to hear, not from a strongman opportunity, not from a fighter opportunity, but whatever it is that you're doing in life, it's the same kind of attitude that you got to have. So congratulations on everything, Eddie. I'll let you go. I enjoyed talking to you. Good luck in the fight. I know I was being a little bit flippant, but taking on 2 guys, that takes a lot of balls as well, man. That does. Are you nervous about that?
Of course I am. A lot can happen. There's a lot on the line, Yeah. We went over the rules with the guys the other day, and, we're talking like I could be on top of one, and one could just come up, take a run up and smack me in the side of the head. And it's the ones you don't see that can really hurt, and I'm open to that, so I'm a big risk. It's both ways. It's dangerous of both ways.
Well, no, it is both. It's dangerous both ways for sure. Eddie, as I said, pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time again. Absolute inspiration. Take care. Thank you for your time. And I'll be waiting for that book. I'll be waiting for the Beast Farm. And shoot me your address. I'll send you one of mine. Eddie, you're the man. Take care, brother.
Thank you, Michael. Big love, bro.
Big love indeed. There he is, the Beast Man himself. Harrington, get on here. What was the stupid last question?
How many Hezbollahs can he lift?
Oh, you should have asked that one. That would have been good. All right, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, which is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. And they are the easiest and the most exciting way. It's just you against the numbers. You just pick more or less, okay? More or less, simple as that, on a 2 to 6 player stat projection, and you can up to 25x your money. You can bet on basketball, football, mixed martial arts. Testing your skill has never been easier. You can turn $10 into $250. It's very simple to play. You just make your picks, submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. Also, there's quick withdrawals, it's easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of plays and stats are what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And if you want to get in on the basketball action this weekend, you got the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, will he get more or less than 27.5 points? Kyrie Irving, will he get more or less than 22.5 points? And Rudy Gobert, more or less than 11 rebounds. It really is that simple. To get involved, to have some fun and to make some money, go to prizepicks.com/believe. Use the code BELIEVE for a first deposit match of up to $100. prizepicks.com/believe. The code is BELIEVE for a first deposit match of up to $100. All right. Today we are joined again, guest number 2, the one and only King Bobby Green. What's going on, Bobby?
Shit, ready to go, ready to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, of course. I bet you are after that tremendous performance at UFC 300. Congratulations on that. Before we get into the next fight with Paddy Pimblett, there's a lot to talk about there. Just talk to me about your experience at UFC 300, sharing the octagon with Jim Miller.
It was dope, bro. Just to get the time to go out there and do my show in front of all the warriors and everybody in the audience, that everybody expected what 300 was supposed to be. And so just trying to live up to that hype, you know, and I'm just glad I got to be able to do a great performance, you know, on that night.
Yeah, of course. Congratulations. Monumental event. Bobby, you've been around this sport for a long time now, man. That's by far got to be, that's the biggest fight card you've ever been a part of, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, bro. You can't beat it. It's history, you know. They could have picked 1,000 people that could be 300 worthy, and the fact that I got picked, bro, is just a blessing and an honor, you know.
It is. You know what? One of the most fun that I had recently.
What's up?
Doing the Wayne show with you, the UFC 298. He's a bomb. He's a bomb. Come on, that's the Bobby Green I want to see. Don't be all intense, Bobby. Shit. Don't be eyeballing me down the camera. Hey, give me he's a bomb.
I was going wild on that show, bro. I was wilding out that day, you know. But you caught sober Bobby Green. So when I'm sober, that's me. Yeah, I'm wild and my energy's crazy. Right now I just smoked a blunt, so I'm just chilling. I'm just chill.
Okay. Yeah, because for those people, I mean, they've probably seen the Wayne show, but they do give you a little booze, and we had to down wine and stuff like that. So, you know, because they want us to make dicks out of ourselves, but it's a good laugh, man, and you were a lot of fun that day.
Hell yeah, bro. Yeah, it's my new experience. I felt so, like, out of place and trying to keep up with your ass, you know? Like, how am I going to match his energy and shit, you know?
No, you stole the show, Bobby. You did. You were brilliant. You stole the show. That whole "he's a bomb" thing. It was great, man. You're gonna get some t-shirts done.
So I had the moment on the show with you, and we had the viral moment with Mackenzie Dern. The sheesh.
That's right. That's right. When she walked out, sheesh.
Yeah. So check this out. Then right after that, I'm doing my fight for 300, and they asked me to ask somebody on the morning show a question. So I'm thinking, who's on the show? They said you're not there. So I'm like, Mike's not there. And I'm like, all right, I just know Laura, who I know is going to be there, you know? So I picked her. I was like, do you miss me being on the show? Like, I think I said, do you miss me being on the show next to you? That shit sounded all like some pervy, like crazy, corn dog shit, you know? And so now it's another little viral clip of me being a horn dog.
Oh, well, hey, listen. She's a married lady. You know that. She's got children. And the poor thing, Laura can't be friendly with anybody without people trying to turn it into something. Do you know what I mean? But
that's how it goes, especially with me, bro.
Right, listen, let's talk about this. Paddy Pimblett. So you called him out at UFC 300. He's a guy that takes a stance. And listen, I'm English. You know, I support all English fighters. I've known you a long time as well. So I'm always, may the best man win. But he's a guy that's kind of taken pride in not calling people
Hold on, Mike. I don't want to cut you off because I know your show, sir. You said, may the best man win. Now, what are we judging best man on what we've done for the sport, what we've put out? Or are we just talking about just the night of the fight?
Well, we'll say the night of the fight. The night of the fight.
Because we were talking about that then. We were talking, it's not even discussion.
Yeah, we're saying on the night, may the best man win. I've got no say in this. I've got no dog. I've got no race. I can't make bets. I couldn't give a flying. You go out there, you do your thing, Bobby. I'm going to be cheering for you. If Paddy Pimblett, who I believe has got an uphill battle against you, is able to pull it off, then I will celebrate that as well. So may the best man win. That's fair enough, right?
Yeah. Hey, bro, I believe in fair and square, and honor and war. And so I'm not trying to have no upper hands or anything like that. I'm going to his backyard and I'm giving him my number. I'm giving him the attention, audience, everything is all in his favor, you know?
No, it is. Also, the fight's going to be at like 5 o'clock in the morning. You're coming from California. I've done it. When I lived in California, I fought in Manchester at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So you're doing the exact same thing. And I think for us coming from here and going over there, even though I'm from there, we're kind of at an advantage because all you've got to do, Bobby, is keep on your regular sleeping schedule, not have jet lag. Just go to bed throughout the day. Make sure you put the do not disturb sign on the door because those maids, they'll be knocking and trying to bring you food and clean the room and wake you up when you're trying to sleep. And then you just got to get up at night, train a little bit in the evening, and then be bored as fuck watching terrible British TV.
Man, no. Okay. See, that's what I really needed right there was those pointers because I was trying to figure out, do I go over there and acclimate to you guys this time or do I just stay on my schedule?
It's on California time, the whole show. So just it's annoying because it's the middle of the night and it gets boring and because it's dark your body wants to go to sleep, but you just got to force yourself. If you can just stay up till 4-5 o'clock in the morning and then get up in the afternoon, if you do that, you'll be fine. It won't be an issue. To be honest, Bobby, somebody like yourself, a real fighter, it doesn't really matter anyway. Let's be honest.
Here we go.
When you walk out, the crowd's going.
You know, because see, you've been on the battlefield and no matter where it goes, no matter what time it is, we're complete warriors. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they say, hey, wake up and fight again, wake up on the moon and fight. It doesn't matter,
Let's say you're led in bed. It's the middle of the night. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. You've had a couple of drinks. You've smoked a couple of blunts. You're out for the count. You're dreaming. Some asshole comes through your front door. Do you think you're going to need to warm up to take care of business?
That's what I'm saying. We're some real warriors, bro. Die on the sword, live on the sword, whatever time it is. Like, I've been watching this Game of Thrones, and so I've been feeling like we attack at dawn, We're going to go over there and just wake my man up, like, get up. We go over
I love Game of Thrones, man.
Oh, yeah, it's a great show.
It's a little complicated, though. I had to watch it like 4 times. I'm still not entirely sure what's going on.
Yeah. I heard they got a new something coming out. I haven't finished Game of Thrones yet.
House of Dragons. The House of Dragons. It's awesome. It's better than Game of Thrones, in my opinion.
That's what everybody's saying.
It is. So you're in for a treat. Anyway, never mind that. Paddy Pimblett. What do you think of this guy? I saw you doing an interview recently and he's not humble and stuff like that. Give me your honest thoughts on Paddy.
Honest thoughts? Paddy's not a bad fighter. He's cool. He does everything pretty good, not bad at all. It seems like he's a complete fighter, he can do a little bit of everything. Cool. I come from like you and I's point of view where there's the newer kids, and it's like back in my day, and I feel like I'm an old man, so I feel like I'm his grandpa, and I'm trying to teach him some lessons, the lessons that he gonna learn on this road. Like, hey, you should chill, son. They used to call you Sonny, old grandpa. What they say in England? What does your grandpa call you?
I mean, I never knew either of them. Well, I did know my granddad, but he died when I was very young. But I don't know.
Grandpa, like old man. What do they call you? Old man call you over there?
Sonny boy.
Yeah,
Chop,
I'm saying, yeah.
You
Sonny
little
boy,
shit.
Son.
Little bastard.
Sometimes some lessons of the game, that like, hey, like he was doing good. He's winning. He's on the industry. But then he starts wolfing crazy stuff when they're saying, hey, you lost the fight. And be honest, all the real fighters are saying you lost. And so what do you say when that? You just shut up and let it be what it is, Say some people think this, some people be this. It's okay. It is what it is. But when you go, no, I won, I beat him. And then he comes back and he doubles down on it again, bro. It's like it's too much. Just chill out, relax. You won the fight, keep it moving. Don't give it any attention. And so it's making him look like the bad, spoiled brat. And so now I'm going, oh, you acting spoiled, And so he does these little things. He says these little things. He thinks he's running Like he's running it. And I'm like, you don't understand that you just got here. And until you've been in the company long enough, like you and I, where the company lets you know nothing's bigger than the company, you know? Nothing's bigger than the company. And they let Conor know that. They let every fighter know you're not bigger than the company. Just when they start saying, oh, I want to, and I wanted this. Nah, it's not what you think. Like he thought he was going to fight Hinata. Nah, it's not what you thought. And this whole time I kept saying, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. He was like, no, Hinato. Hey, we should fight. We should fight. I'm like, okay, he's not paying attention. I'm like, let him find out his own. Here's lesson number 1. You're not bigger than the company.
So you think, and you're right, nobody's bigger than the company. You think he was looking for the Hinato fight rather than you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, he wants to have fun. He wanted to have laughs, and we can do that. We could have did that, Patty. You know, we could have did that if you just wanted to say, hey, Bob, I think you're a cool fight. I like to fight you. It's cool, you know. But he's like, he called me out first, to be honest, you know. And so Patty called me out when I was supposed to fight Jalen, when I was getting ready to fight Jalen after I was supposed to fight Dan Hooker. Hooker pulled out last week notice. Jalen jumps in, and so now I'm fighting Jalen. Then he calls me, and I'm like, there's no way he called me out, you know? And they're like, yeah, he did. So I'm like, all right. So I'm fighting Jalen. I get dropped. Fight ends badly for me. He thinks I forgot about him. I'm like, no, you said my name. And to me personally, like Mike, as me and you as fighters,
yep,
I want to fight the guys who said that they think they could fight with me, you know? Those are the guys that you want to really go fight after. Like, that sounds like more of a competition me than the guys that didn't want to fight me, you know?
And that's why I think people really resonate with you, Bobby, because the realness that you're talking about there, because you are a real fighter. You've been in the UFC for a long time, 10 years or so, been fighting in big organizations for a long time before that. And you're a no-nonsense guy. I think I've done a pretty good job in bringing out the fun side of Bobby. You've been on this podcast before, and you're like, listen, Bisping, this is the last time I do this shit. Don't ever ask me again. But you're a no-nonsense guy. And I think people really respect that about you because, you know, we can have all fun and games, but at the end of the day, it ain't a joke when you're inside the octagon, you know? So talk to me about the fight. My quick analysis is that I think you got better hands. I think you're faster. I think he's going to struggle to take you down because you've got a great wrestling pedigree as well. If I had to give him an edge, I don't know, maybe towards the jiu-jitsu side of things. But you submitted Tony Ferguson. You know what I'm saying? So don't take what I said there as an insult because I know you're a sensitive bastard and I got to be careful.
Don't make it seem like I'm some personal, like I'm some sensitive motherfucker and stuff. Like, bro,
Bobby Green's a little bitch.
Keep it real.
Bobby Green's a little bitch. Bobby Green's a bitch.
Let's go. You know, keep it real.
Yeah. But how do you see the fight, Bobby? How do you see it?
Okay. Me personally, Patty, he said this. He said he could see him knocking me out, and he could see him submitting me. And that's lesson number 2. Lesson number 2, I keep telling him. Lesson 1 is shut up. Number 2 is be humble, and just be humble. And what you say is like it'll tell on yourself. And so what he's saying is that, all right, maybe that could be a possibility. He could knock me out. That's a possibility. That's in any fight. You could just throw a Hail Mary, the shot lands, drops, you're okay. That's a possibility. But Patty, what you're telling me is that you can do what no one else has ever done in the UFC is be able to tap me. That's what you're telling me you're going to do? That's interesting now. Now we're kind of talking a little bit, but that just sounds far-fetched, you know? And then be honest, you're telling yourself that you think your jiu-jitsu is that great. All right, keep telling yourself. I'm not saying anything about my stuff. You keep telling me everything about you, and I'm learning. And the more you talk, the more you teach, you know? And so I just keep saying on my end, I'm going to hit him a lot. I'm going to hit him, Mike, I'm going to hit him a lot. He's going to get busted up. It's going to be a hell of a fight for him. I promise it's not going to be easy. I promise I'm going to check his heart. And I promise that I'm going to make it like no other fight. That's all I can keep saying. I'm not going to say how it goes. I'm not God to predict. I'm not acting like I'm big and bad and I think I'm the shit. You know, people keep saying that like I'm cocky. No, what happens is with confidence and with work comes confidence, but it's confidence, not cockiness, you know? And I'm not telling him not to do anything crazy. I'm just saying what I actually done to every fighter, except one or two. They all got hit a lot. They all got damaged. They all got cuts. They're all bloody, And so I have the record for the most amount of hits in our division. Guys get hit a lot. I'm not telling lies. So don't get it confused with cockiness. I'm not trying to come off like a cocky fighter. I'm just trying to say, hey, kid, if you want to be in this game a long time, you better learn how to get along with the company. You know, learn how to keep it cool with the fans and be chill. You're going to get it. I'm going to teach you.
I don't think anybody would find that cocky at all, Bobby. I think what you just said there is having confidence in your ability, respecting your opponent, but also believing that you can win. I mean, at the end of the day, we never know that we're going to win a fight. But that's what also makes it exciting. That's what makes it a challenge. But believing you're going to win and having confidence doesn't make you cocky. I think anyone listening to that will have a lot of respect for you, Bobby.
Yeah. But I just think that, the internet and stuff, I don't really pay too much attention, but I know that I can be taken, like they're going to look at you and they're going to try to find the hole. And so first thing they go with a black fighter, oh, you're cocky, and it's not that at all. 'Cause trust me, I've taken some L's. I'm not that guy. I've taken L's in my game. And so it's not that guy. I'm humble. And for every dollar I earn doing this work that we do, we put our lives on the line. We've lost some valuable parts of our bodies that we did to this sport. But we have a true understanding of it also. And so it's not like, so if someone asked you if you could be Jake Paul, you would say, I confidently think I do, right?
I'd say 100%.
Yes, but somebody may also take that as cockiness,
Yeah.
Somebody else may take that as cockiness. And so I just don't want to be misconstrued. I'm trying to let people know, like, when I come out there to y'all side, bro, I'm just trying to show some love out there, on the other side, like of the pond. Hey, guys, like, I came out to show you guys a real show. There's so many times, Mike, where I come into it with fighters that, I mean, not even fighters, are fans that don't know who I am, never met me, don't know who I was on the card, and they come and they bump into me and they go, hey, who are you? I go, I'm Bobby Green. They go, listen, I watched the whole entire card. For some reason, your fight just impacted me more than everybody else's fight on that card. And that's what I'm trying to do is really impact those fans.
But that's what you bring every time, Bobby. And I'm not saying this because we're talking or kissing your ass. You do bring a certain energy, a realness. The boxing skill is phenomenal. And you're a true fighter. You got that grit in you. You got that determination. And you're skillful as well. Your hands are beautiful to watch, man. So I truly mean that. You mentioned England a second ago, though. This will be your first time in the UK?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are you expecting?
Man, I don't know. And so, like right now, maybe you can help me out with this. That's why I'm talking to you. Give me some ideas and stuff. I don't know. So like right now, usually when I come to a fight, I'm gonna play my hip hop stuff because I'm a dude from the West Coast, and I'm repping for all the young little black kids like me. But now that I'm across the pond, I'm like, man, maybe I should do something different, like paint some rock and roll type of, or some, something totally different, because now I'm in a different audience. And I don't know, but I don't know what they listen to out there. I don't know what the wave is out there.
There's a huge black culture in the UK, and then there's a lot, certainly in Manchester and London, all over the UK.
Yeah.
It's a very multicultural place, yeah. And there's a big hip hop scene, but we call it. And again, I'm probably showing my age here, but I think it's grime. If you walked out to some Stormzy, have you heard of Stormzy?
No.
He's a big artist. There's a guy, Bugsy Malone. Check out Bugsy Malone. He's a big rapper from Manchester. If you walked out to some Bugsy Malone because he's from Manchester, that'd get a big pop. Stormzy. But again, I'm not the guy to ask for that stuff. But you know what I'm saying? I'm a white guy that's lived in California for the last 13 years. So my fingers are off the pulse a little bit there.
I'm trying to get out there, and I'm supposed to meet up with MVP if I can. He's one of my favorite fighters. And so I think he's going to tap me into the culture over there,
Well, he would be a better fit than me. He's joining the show in 10 minutes, so stick around and you guys can say hi.
Hell yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, perfect. Well, listen, Bobby, I'll take you out around Manchester. We'll do a little tour around Manchester. We'll get my YouTube.
Let's go.
We'll get my cameraman to film it. We'll have a little walk and talk. We'll show you the sights.
Yeah. Here, I need some fish and chips. I need some tea. You know what I'm saying?
You need a steak and kidney
all
pudding.
The fancy slang, you know what I'm saying? I heard fancy's the word out there.
let me tell you this. So this is the thing. A lot of Americans, that when I came out here, they're all like, you posh English people and all the rest of it. Bro, right? The posh shit that you see on TV in London, and they all talk like this and they drink. That doesn't exist, man. That is not the real England. Like, you go to certain parts of London, oh, darling, absolutely they do, and round Mayfair and Buckingham Palace, yes. But most places aren't like that. Most people don't talk like that. Life in the UK is hard. Do you know what I mean? It's like, bro, I'm telling you.
So I'm gonna get to go to like the hoods out there.
Dude, you're in Manchester, man. There's plenty.
I want to go to the hoods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they're maybe not as bad as the American hoods, but they're still
I want to go out there and check out the hoods. I'm trying to get in the streets of Manchester. You know?
Yeah, they're like for working class people in England. Life's hard, man. Just to make ends meet and pay the bills. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I know you've had a tough story, and you've got a real story, and you've lived life. At both ends of the spectrum, man. A lot of people will resonate with who you are, Bobby, because people aren't posh, they're not well off. There is, like everywhere, there's people that have done well, there's people that have been born into wealth, but a lot of the working class people, man, just getting by day to day is a real struggle.
Yeah, facts. And so no matter what state I go to, wherever I fight at, I always take a plane the first day I drop off, take off my stuff, get down and put on shoes. I run to the city. I go find all the little neighborhoods and just kind of like meet people and get out there a little bit and just kind of feel the temperature of the city. I've been in foster care. I've been in 50 different homes. I never had a mom or a dad. And so to me, like, I learned about the city through the city. I got to go feel it. I got to go, this is bad, or this feels like this, I got to go feel it myself.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. I've said this many times. When I'm in a new city, I go and run. I go and run around it because, number one, I'm getting my exercise. I get to see all the shit, as I said, the nice areas, the bad areas. You see a little shop. It's like, I need something. There it is. That's where I get that. And you get a feel for the place.
Facts.
Yeah. This weekend, you said you've had a long career, and you've had some ups and you've had some downs. Mm-hmm. You've been in there with Islam Makhachev. He's fighting this weekend, Dustin Poirier. If you were talking to Dustin Poirier and you were trying to explain Islam Makhachev, like, what should Dustin expect this weekend in terms of once he gets a hold of you? I mean, because I've never grappled with him. I have no idea. What does it feel like when Islam Makhachev gets a hold of you?
This is interesting because if I'm going to be honest, it's like, one, I fought the guy on 10 days notice after I just got out of a fight. Mike, I went and did a 3-rounder. I broke the record that night. For the most amount of strikes, I broke it that night. I was doing a lot of punching and a lot of kicking, and my stuff was banged up, sore. I was supposed to go in for knee surgery for my girl, and I get the call, and I'm like, I'm going to do this for my family. I make the money, and I was like, hey, let's just do it. Let's see what I can put together.
You fought Nasrat Haqparast on February 12th. And you fought Islam on February 26th, 2 weeks later.
Yeah. And so they call me and they're like, oh, you want to fight? Blah, blah. I'm like, 10 days to cut the weight back down. I'm smoking now and doing all this stuff. So I'm like, I'm not really there. Basically, it was half of me that went out there, And,
That's a fair
what
point.
I got to feel from Islam, I didn't feel like I got much because, one, Islam doesn't take any risk. He's out there to win a fight, finish a fight. He's not out there to finish a fight in a great fashion. He's just there to win. And so as I was going with him, I didn't have my jiu-jitsu up to par. I didn't have enough time to work my wrestling, but I felt like he was just a step ahead of me. Really strong guy, really strong. Volk said he wasn't that strong, but I think Volk is a more of a compact guy. And so those guys are stronger being compact, harder to hold down because their muscles are shorter and can work easier versus a taller guy working those same positions. And so I think it's a little bit strong. I didn't take a scratch in the fight when we got out of the fight. I didn't have a scratch on me. I didn't feel like I would win in the fight. It was hitting me. I was blocking everything, but I was trying to block and pass back to half guard at the same time, and the ref stopped it before I could finish. I got those different things to feel for him. To me, to be honest, it was just like whatever. I don't know. But now, as far as their fight goes, I fought Dustin too. I got to move some leather with Dustin. I spoke to Dustin. I just told him, believe in your power. Believe in your power. If he touches you, you're going down. But the only issue is Islam going to take those risks? You know, Islam doesn't take any chances. He's going in, shooting and not giving him any time. Like, I think he took those risks with Volk, where he was like, oh, I'll try my stand up here and, and try to work some of him. I felt like he had a reach and a height advantage over Volk, so he could use those things and try. But I don't think he would try that more so with Dustin.
I mean, it's a fascinating fight because Dustin's even said there's a good chance, win or lose, this might be the last time he ever competes. What is your pick in the fight, Bobby? Having been in there with both of them, and by the way, I'm glad you brought that up about Nasrat Haqparast, because it is actually a great point, because you fought 2 weeks later. And for anyone that thinks you're making excuses, I've done it myself. When I fought George St. Pierre, a few weeks later, I was on the other side of the world fighting again. And people don't understand what fighting, going through the weight cuts and all the rest of it, what it does to you. Because I went on the piss. I was drinking for 4 or 5 days. And then all of a sudden I'm like, fuck, I'm flying to China. It's not
They have no idea what that does psychologically to you. Like you go through this, I want to say like relief, where you let all the stress go and have to go through that. And they have to pull it back up and recharging. Let's run it again. It's like, it's a crazy thing.
Yeah. So, given all that, you fought Dustin, you fought Islam, you're a fan of the sport, you think everyone's a bum, but who wins this fight? Who would you put your money on?
I put my money on.
Or who do you think wins?
I want Dustin. I'm USA. I'm a USA guy. I like to see him do his thing. I do feel like maybe he's gonna get that lucky shot. And I like the odds. If I was going to put some money down, I'd put it on Dustin just in case, I think Islam is going to do Islam's typical game. As long as it's exciting. That's all I want to see, is an exciting fight.
Obviously, Islam's only lost one fight.
Yeah.
To Adriano Martins. Short little right hook from the southpaw stance. From the southpaw stance, just like Dustin, southpaw, right-handed, the right hand that he knocked out Benoit Saint-Denis with. Do you think there's a chance? I mean, there's always a chance.
There's always a chance, but that's what we're trying to explain. I just feel like Islam gives none of those chances, though. Like, there's always a chance. I feel like they don't give him. He don't give the chances. And, like, yeah, he got lucky once. Like, that's like... That's that chance part. That was that one chance that it already passed. He learned. I ain't taking no more chances here. Stay less time on the feet.
Yeah.
The more time I spend here, the more chance I get knocked out. So let's spend less time here and let's clinch, grab, and wrestle.
Okay. In a few minutes, Michael Venom Page is going to jump on. So we'll ask him some questions. We'll get him to give you some advice on the music and places to go to.
Oh, yeah.
But we got to finish on this, brother. UFC 304, Manchester. We'll go for a walk around the city if you got time. I'd love to do that if you're up for it.
Let's do it down, real shit.
I'll get my editor to film it and we'll do a little walk and talk through the streets of Manchester. I would love to do that, brother. But what is the prediction? How does this go down? I know you're a humble guy. You're going to come and do your thing. But let the people know. Does Paddy
if I got a prediction,
lose?
If I have a prediction, I'm not God. I just know I'm gonna beat him up a lot. I'm gonna hit him a lot, and I'm gonna push him to those fires. If I had a prediction, I'd say I'd put him out in round 3.
Round 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think. Yeah. Listen, he's from obviously Liverpool. And he's going to have a lot of support. But I will tell you this. People in Manchester don't like people from Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's a whole football thing. Now, granted, above everything, they're all English or British. You know what I'm saying? But the Liverpool and Manchester, there is a rivalry there. So you're probably
I'm gonna go get me a Manchester jersey.
Oh, bro, you do that shit. Make it Man City. Make it a Man City.
I joined the right hood. I joined the right squad.
Get a Man City shirt on, or even a Man United. They just won the up.
Take me somewhere. Take me somewhere.
I'm gonna take you somewhere. We'll do it. I'll buy you a shirt.
Get fitted up.
We're gonna get fitted up. And I'll get you dressed like a chav, right? A chav.
What is that?
It's what it means. It's like what all the kids dress in. It actually means council house and violent. It's like the council houses, like the projects, if you will.
Okay.
Chav, C-H-A-V, council house and violent. They dress a certain way. I'll take you out. We're going to get you dressed up as a chav. We'll get you in a Man City shirt. Yeah, that's not too bad, but it's not. That's not really it. But still,
that was hard.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was right up your street. Harrington, have you got a question for Bobby while we just wait for MVP? Thanks for your time, Bobby. I've enjoyed this. You're the man.
I appreciate you, brother. Hell yeah.
Okay, so just following up on something that you guys did discuss a little bit earlier, that viral moment with Mackenzie Dern. My buddy Cody actually hit me up and said, make sure you ask Bobby, about the interaction you had, the back and forth in the DMs, possibly getting set up, and what your thoughts are now that they are broken up and she is a single woman.
Oh, so
did you hear about
I did, but set the table for the listeners, please.
Okay. So after we're doing your show, I guess let's say sheesh. From when me saying sheesh, everybody took it like I was trying to get at her or saying like she's hot. But I'm like, man, she's ripped. She looks jacked. She's jacked and looked like she came fit, ready to fight. And so they took it like some horn dog shit. But okay, it is what it is. It's funny. It's for the views. I just let it be, And so I'm sitting at the house or whatever. Mackenzie hits me up. Me and her, we got each other's phone number, and so she texts me, and so she's like, "What's up?" And she's like, "Oh, thank you." So I go, "Oh, you know what I mean?" I go, "Hey, I'm like, what's up? I'm trying to shoot my shot. So like, what's up? She like, "Oh, I got a man." Or yeah, she said she got a man. I don't think she said she got a husband. I don't remember, but she said whatever. So I'm like, oh, cool, no disrespect. My bad. I didn't know. And so we left it at that. There was nothing else. Cool. So next like a week or two later, she hits me up again. And I'm like, but this is from a different number. So I'm like, what the? And she's like, hey, like now she's on me where I can see her energies change, where she's like, we should just come by and we should just meet up and we should just, just come by, right? Come today. Come now, come today. I'm like, man, why is she on me like that? Like, I got my radars is going off, my flags but at the same time, I got to go to Mexico. So I'm like, I got to go to Mexico for a week. So I'm just like, I ain't going to mess around with this guy, And so I go to Mexico. I come back. I hit her up. And I'm like, what's up, And she's like, oh, yeah, this is her husband. So now, in my guy voice now, this is her husband. I was texting you. I'm like, oh. I was like, man, I felt like that. And I just told her, I was like, maybe you wanted to fight me or some shit. I was like, I was gonna come see you and maybe you wanted to fight over this or something, maybe you thought that would help you out, And so we left it at that.
You got caught in a honey trap.
Yeah. I mean, but I told him, I was like, bro, she didn't even say nothing bad or like she didn't like get at me or nothing,
No, you did nothing wrong there. Oh God. I know the ex-husband. I don't know him, but
being jealous.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. I mean, I say I know him. I've seen him in the gym with Mackenzie, and I've said hi a few times. Seemed like a nice guy. I thought it was the new boyfriend. Is it the big tall Brazilian dude?
I don't know. I ain't following and I ain't watching, so I don't know. I just shot the shot, and if it wasn't what it was, it was what it was.
Well, she's a good-looking girl, and she's desired by a bunch of men. And with that, we lost you for a second. She's a good-looking girl. She's in demand. So we'll just leave it at that. And God bless you. God bless you. You're gonna shoot the shot, give the sheesh. She's in shape. She's looking good. She's a hell of a fighter. And speaking of hell of a fighter, we're joined by another hell of a fighter, MVP.
What's up? How you doing,
Mike,
bro?
Have you ever met Bobby?
No, we haven't met.
No, we never
Bobby
met.
Green.
Never met.
MVP.
Yeah.
MVP, Bobby Green.
My guy. You too, bro. Thanks for your kind words the other day, bro.
You one of my favorite fighters, bro. Like, I only got a short list. It's you, Adesanya, Nate Diaz, and Dominic Cruz. Those are my four fighters.
Man. Much respect, my bro. Much respect, man. Thank you.
And
you're coming to the.
You really do this shit like you do this shit to watch like a movie. You know what I'm saying? And that's real hard to make a fight like a movie. And that's very hard to do. There's not many that can do that shit. And I'm not going to ever compare myself to you, but I'm on that type of tip with you where I'm like, bro, we trying to make something you can watch for. It's timeless, bro. Not just trying to win a fight. I'm trying to get something that's timeless.
Yeah, 100%. You're coming to Manchester, no?
Facts. So I need you to put me up on the music.
So Mike, so we were just talking and he said, what can he do to resonate? And I was like, because he was like, I don't know if there's much of a hip hop scene out there. I'm like, bro, listen, it's not a country full of white guys and we're all drinking beer. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's a massive hip hop culture or grime culture.
I don't know my head. I just thought a bunch of white guys.
Mike,
I don't know.
Mike, I said, to be fair, being a white guy living in California for the last 13 years, I'm not the best guy to advise. And then he mentioned you. I said, Mike's joining us in just a minute. So if you were to advise him, a British artist, I said like a Stormzy or even a Bugsy Malone because he's from Manchester, but what would you say, Mike?
It depends. If you're looking like UK hip hop, like rap, I'm gonna say like J Hus. J Hus is J Hus, yeah.
Now this is gonna be some shit like that you come out to, like, cause I saw your last interest. That shit was hard, bro. Like you took the Undertaker shit, and then you flipped it. Then you flipped it to your own shit. I was like, that shit is hard.
Yeah. So when I flipped it now, that's what we call Amapiano. It's Afro house. So it's like African house music. Yeah, I'm gonna introduce you to that. I'm gonna introduce you to that.
That's what's up. Okay.
Yeah. I'll take you to a couple of spots that you're gonna enjoy yourself, definitely.
Bro, so you had me over here trying to do some other shit, not focus on my fighting shit.
Nah, after your fight, bro.
There we go.
Stay an extra couple of days or something, and we'll get something happening.
Okay, for sure.
Amazing. Well, listen, I'll just sign off and let you two chat because I could listen to you two.
This is his interview. I got to get out the way.
Nah, don't be silly. I'm serious. As a fan, I could just sit here and watch you two. Well, you guys will meet in person, no doubt, because you'll be in Manchester, right, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. I'm making sure I'm there for that.
Bobby,
hey, good luck to you on your fight, brother. I'm out of here and stuff. I really appreciate you, Mike. Bro. Thank you for having me, guys.
Hey, Bobby, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun, man. I laughed hard. That was great.
You're the man, brother. You're the fucking man, bro. Let's go.
Hey, we're doing that in Manchester. Don't let me down.
Fuck yeah, let's go. Hit me up. Text me.
Yeah. Will do, brother. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, this episode is brought to you by Mando, which is deodorant brought to you from the makers of Lumi deodorant. And it is clinically proven to control odor for up to 72 hours. Talk about this product all the time. It's fantastic. It smells great. And it's going to stop you from stinking. Basically, wherever it is that you stink, the pits, the package, the feet, and beyond, make the switch to Mando whole body deodorant and you will smell fantastic. And what's the reason why? Well, it was created by a doctor that saw firsthand how BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Mando is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours, which is 3 days. Baking soda free, paraben free, pH balance, and as I said, clinically proven to control odor better than just a shower with soap alone. And right now, the Mando starter pack is the perfect introduction for new customers. It comes with the solid stick deodorant, the cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and you get free shipping. So right now, go to mando.com to get $5 off the starter pack when you go to shopmando.com. That equates to over 40% off the starter pack when you visit shopmando.com and you use the code Bisping. Control body odor if you're one of the people that suffers from it for up to 72 hours by going to shopmando.com and use the code Bisping. MVP, what's up, man?
Yes, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Glad to hear you're feeling better.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got to apologize. I hit Mike up for an interview and then like 10 minutes, because I had something beforehand. I was like, and I was talking. I said, I can't do this. I can't do a interview. It's disrespectful. So I said, can we do Thursday? Obviously, you know, you're a popular man these days, in media galore, but you made it happen. We haven't spoke since you beat Kevin Holland, I don't believe, right?
No, we haven't.
You went to Turks and Caicos. You had a successful UFC debut. You're in the rankings. You're the belle of the ball. You're fighting on the McGregor card. Life is good.
Man, you know what? It's going according to plan, to be fair. I feel like I genuinely like almost I've manifested this, and I kind of said I want to jump in at the deep end and not waste any time, just get straight to the top of the pile and just make noise. And I feel like, we're on track. Yeah,
without question. That is exactly what you said. And it's exactly what you're doing, you know, so congratulations. Kevin Holland, obviously, he's a tremendous fighter and he's a fan favorite, and he's back in action this weekend. He had a hard time with you, though, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Kevin because I do like him a lot, but your style, he couldn't really get near to you, and I think it probably happens with your opponents a lot. They start to get more and more frustrated, and then they start to swing more because they're getting mad. Is that kind of a fair assessment for you?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think he knew it was going to be a difficult fight. Just stylistically, I think he knew it was going to be a difficult fight. Obviously, he's probably the only person that's had a close experience with that kind of style with Wonderboy Thompson. So I think he knew it was going to be a bit awkward. But yeah, like I said, again, people don't really realize how fast I am and, you know, my exact timing for stuff until they're in there with me. And so I kind of knew that he was going to have a very difficult time. I wasn't underestimating him by all means, because as you say, I think he's an amazing athlete. I think he's a top fighter. I think he's one of the toughest I've ever come across. He's a beast, because I landed some clean shots and I was just looking in his eyes. He was just there the whole time. Like, so yeah, but I just knew he would always find the style difficult.
Yeah, man, you did. You hit him clean several times. And I didn't realize this. He's never been knocked out. There's one TKO loss on his record, but it was a doctor stoppppage or a corner stoppage at the end of round 4. So he's never been stopped. So he's as tough as they come, man. So well done on that. Now,
thank you.
What are your ranks now, Mike? 10 now? 9? Something like that?
I think it's like 13, I think. All right. I can't remember. I think it's 13.
Whatever. You're taking on Ian Gary. Now, first of all, Brian, just quickly, because this is genius. You've got to go to Michael's Instagram page and you've got to play this video that shows SpongeBob. Because, Mike, you're a class act. You're awesome in the octagon. Hey, bro, I was sitting there. I've got the in-law staying at my house. My father-in-law sitting by the fire pit yesterday, just having a cheeky beer after a barbecue. And I'm scrolling Instagram, and then my father-in-law's like, SpongeBob. I love SpongeBob. I'm like, no, check this out. Brian, put it to the start. Put it to the start. Press play. This is amazing. Hold on.
That's it, Gary.
What is the title? He says, when Ian Gary's coach sees that he accepted the fight with you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it, Gary. We are going to start some serious training right now. Come on, Gary, move it. Up, down. Faster, go. Come on, push it, Gary, push. Move that shell. Come on, Gary, move it. Let's go. Faster, let's go. Speed up. Move it, Gary, move it.
All right, thanks, Brian. We get the idea. Oh, my God. Listen, I don't see it. I think even Ian's got to laugh at that. Come on, that's genius.
Listen, 100%. But this is what I'm trying to say to people. Like, as I've always showed, I try to be creative. It's not just me, though. Like, I have to say, it's my family. I always say we, because it's me, my family, my friends. We get together and we start doing like cracking jokes about opponents and, what I could do, blah, blah, blah. And it's actually my brother that came up with that. He was kind of like, oh, do you remember the snail in SpongeBob's called Gary? And I was like, oh, I started looking through clips. We got some more to come. Don't worry, we got some more to come. But like, this is what I was saying. I tell people that everyone feels the need to be disrespectful on a personal level. And there's other ways of being creative. There's other ways of selling fights. I like to be cheeky and a bit more entertaining. And yeah, I'm going to come up with more stuff like that.
Yeah, as you say, you don't need to necessarily sell your soul and do a disservice to yourself to sell the fight and be funny. Do you mind if we play one more? Because you had that other one where you said, you're not very good at this, are you, Ian? Was it like, Brian, just bring his page back up because I saw this one. This is good. Ian Gary's going to hate me after this, and I'm pretty sure he already does anyway, so fuck it. I've got nothing against the guy. But which one is it? Is it this one here?
The one in the middle. No, the one in the middle.
The one in the middle, Brian. Up the top. That one.
Yeah, there you
Get
go.
this out. This is
Maybe even a future opponent for you one day.
Who's fight next?
Kevin Holland in Miami.
There's no way he beats Kevin Holland. So no. There's no way.
So we can't get too excited about potentially and Gary MVP matchup.
Unless he passes me out in the division somehow and his number's higher than mine, I'm zero interest.
Bro, you are 2 for 2. Not that good at this, are you? But I'm gonna give you one more chance. Last question. Who do you reckon is gonna win our fight?
Good stuff, man. Who helps you do all this? Because you ain't doing that stuff yourself.
Yeah, no, not at all. Like, again, it's the family that comes up with the ideas. But the execution is my creative director, Kishan. He is unbelievable. I have him full time with me, filming absolutely everything. He does my YouTubes, he does these videos, he does all my promotional videos and my training videos. He is a one-man band when it comes to it. We actually started a film company together called In the Moment. We're going to be doing some like short films and a few other bits and pieces. But yeah, this he's the guy.
Yeah, well, shout out to Kishan. Well done, mate. He's doing some fantastic work. Very, very entertaining stuff. So talk to me about Ian Gary, because he gave you no chance of beating Kevin Holland. He's kind of been a little bit, I think it's fair to say, dismissive, right? What do you think? What do you think about this fight?
I think it's a great fight. It's something that I almost asked for straight after anticipating that it would be a good fight. I do by no means am I overlooking him at all, because he is a talented young guy. Some excellent striking. Coming from a striking background, I can analyze certain things, and I'm like, man, that was nice, that was slick. There's certain aspects that obviously I feel like I can expose. I obviously feel like there's a few holes in the game, and I can see my path to victory, but I have to be on point. He's a sharp guy. And I think as long as if I'm the best me on that day, I don't see me losing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, without question, you've got to give the guy respect because he's good at what he does. He's just undefeated, 7-0 now, I think, in the UFC, something like that.
Yeah.
So, and he's tall and he's long and he's got good kickboxing. So he's not someone you take lightly. I think last time out he was getting booed a lot because he was backing up against Jeff Neal. To be honest, he was playing it smart. He was recognizing the threat from Jeff. I don't expect you to give a game plan away, but I'm assuming for you, not much changes, right?
And that's what the interesting thing was. I actually asked for the fight to be pushed to Manchester. I kind of felt like it made sense. Young Irish guy, young British guy, fighting on the UK card. And also I had just come back off holiday. So I thought it gives me a little bit more time to kind of prepare properly. I like to be at my best. I take my training very, very seriously. And I just felt, it'd be better on that card. But he wanted it on June. So I was like, cool, we'll make it happen. And the reason why it made it an even easier choice is because, as you say, it's not that much of a change. I'm literally using the same sparring partners that I had used for Kevin. We've asked a couple of people to do a couple of different things, just because there's, a few variations that are slightly different. But in general, it's pretty much the same camp. So it's almost like I've gone the camp. I'm classing it as my camp started back from the Kevin Holland camp, and we're still utilizing the same thing. And for me, it's just about making sure I'm fit, which my coach is our gym's known for, pushing us physically. So we're just getting to work. Like, I don't care to do any media outside of like my own little fun. I don't care to do any media, anything. I just want to head down, make sure I am at 100% for that fight, and then I'll show the world exactly what time it is.
You said you're not here to mess around. You know, you're 37 years old, you know, so you kind of, you want to fast track, if you will, towards a title shot, which I understand. If you designed your career in a laboratory, I didn't say that right, in a lab, if you put it down on pen and paper, it'd be make your debut at UFC 299, which is one of the best fight cards, then follow it up with a big fight against a brash Irishman on the undercard of Conor McGregor versus versus Michael Chandler, again, that's already surpassed $20 million. I mean, talk about exposure, bro.
It's like I said, it literally feels like everything that I've kind of manifested and put out into, you know, the world is slowly, you know, coming to life. You know, I see myself finding Gary's chin at some point in that fight, getting a big KO under those lights, under that attention. It's only going to slingshot me even further to the top. You know what? Because I've envisioned my title fight to be against Leon in the UK. Potentially, I do one more fight, and it, you know, because I'm not sure when they're going to be coming back to the UK. Maybe next year from now, but hopefully early next year. Which means, let's say I get one more fight, you know, do exactly what I do again, and then, you know, push to the title next year, early next year, and then have an epic fight with the main man, Leon Edwards, in, you know, a stadium in the UK. That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, we've spoke about this before, but that really would be. That would be, I mean, just perfect, wouldn't it? I mean, you had a great career outside the UFC. Fly through the rankings. I mean, you're already ranked after one fight, beat Ian Gary, one more fight, and then take on the champ. It'd be phenomenal. However, if Conor McGregor beats Michael Chandler, he's kind of already calling out Leon Edwards. And Leon Edwards said that he'd won him at Madison Square Garden in November. Now, I understand that because that makes a lot of sense for both people. I'm assuming you agree with that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, here's the thing. I've always got two hats on at the same time. You've got the fighter side and you've got the business mind. I understand when certain business decisions are made, I don't get annoyed. I can't let the fighter side of me get annoyed. Oh no, you know, this should happen this way. No, we can't do that. You know, I have to make sense of the scenario, the situation. It makes sense for Conor. Again, he's going up against a stand-up fighter. And I understand he's made a few comments. I understand what he means by it, in terms of saying that, you know, Leon went the distance with Diaz. You know, he struggled to finish him and so on and so forth. He said, he favors himself as a stand-up artist. So I completely understand that. And again, it just makes noise. It makes sense, you know, for the UFC. If he decides to say, you know, that's the fight I want next, and they give it to him, it makes sense. I get it. I'd have no qualms with that. I'd hope, again, selfishly speaking, I'd let's say that doesn't happen for whatever reason. I'd kind of prefer it that way, just so it is me and Leon at the end, and nothing gets in the way of that. But you know, who knows? It might be me and Conor at the end. it could either be that.
Way,
even that would be epic.
It's not a bad scenario either way, is it? Listen, way, I can see it's still daylight in the UK there. How's the weather right now?
Shit. It's so bad over here, man. It's like grey clouds. I actually saw something yesterday, and they said we're gonna have the worst summer that we've had in like 50 years, and it's gonna be like 100 days of rain.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm actually, I think you're probably the first station I'm saying this to. I'm actually moving probably towards the end of the year. I've actually got my visa to move to Dubai. So I'm going to be, I'm saying bye to the UK, getting out of here. I'm definitely going to be over that side of the world. I'm still going to be, you know, anytime there's camp, I'm going to be coming back home, you know, with my guys and so on and so forth. But yeah, I can't take it over here anymore, man. I'm done with this place.
You know, listen, it sounds like a silly thing to say, talking about the weather. I called my dad before I was driving to an appointment, and I said, how you doing, Dad? He said, oh, okay, apart from it's almost June and I've got the heating on. He said, it's freezing up north and it's pissing down with rain and all the rest of it. Yeah. And it does just, I know this is an MMA podcast, but it gets you down. It does. It gets you down.
It does.
My wife's Australian. She came from Australia. It was cold. It was wet and all the rest of it. I'm coming out to California doing training camp. She came out a couple of times. We had the work visa. And life is for living. You got to get out there and see, 100%. Experience new places, new things. You know, obviously, my heart is English, and I love going back there. My friends and family will always be there, but there's a big wide world. Mike, I'll let you go. Enjoy the rain.
Thank you.
Enjoy the training camp. Best of luck. Just give me a prediction. How does the fight end?
Spectacular knockout. I'm game plan is pretty straightforward, if I'm being honest. And I don't feel like it does anything for him, even if he heard this. Piling on a lot of pressure because he doesn't seem to work well off his back foot, and he will feel that pressure as mixed with that frustration. It's going to make him at some point in that fight dart forward in the wrong moment, and that's when something big happens. And I'm drilling quite a few things. That if any one of those lands, nobody's going to be talking about the Conor fight.
Ian Gary will be unconscious.
Sleeping. Good night. Good night.
I'm just trying to get a quote for the thumbnail on the video. Mike, you're the man, brother. Always a pleasure talking
Thank you, my bro.
Good luck with everything.
Always good talking to you.
All right, man. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. All right, this episode is brought to you by 8 Sleep, the miraculous pod cover that is going to make you sleep better, sleep great, feel great in the morning, sleep at the correct temperature, and it is so very easy. The 8 Sleep pod cover is like a mattress cover. Slip it on the bed, super easy to use. You download the app, even a moron can use it. After that, you can set one side of the bed as low as 55 degrees, the other side as high as 110 degrees. And sleep science shows that in order to sleep your best, the body temperature needs to drop in the early and the middle part of the night and rise in the morning. And I love it. I lie in bed and we're watching Boardwalk Empire again at the moment, and it kicks in and the bed gets all nice and cool. And honestly, you sleep just so nice. You're the perfect temperature. The pod cover will improve your sleep by automatically adjusting the bed temperature, as I told you. In addition to keeping you at the perfect temperature all night, the pod also tracks your sleep and your health metrics. You can see it all right there on the app. The quality of your sleep, the REM sleep, the deep sleep. Pod users, on average, they see their sleep quality improve by 32% after just a month using the 8 Sleep Pod 3. So right now, there's no better way to improve your sleep than investing with the 8 Sleep Pod 3. Go to 8sleep.com/Bisping to get $200 off and free shipping. I love this product. It's tremendous. We're sleeping like babies, and it's just, it's great. You're going to love it. I can't say enough good things about it, from the metrics to the information to the comfort level to being at the correct temperature. And of course, it improves your sleep. 8sleep.com/Bisping to get $200 off and free shipping. All right, listen, I got to say a big thank you. Eddie Hall, Bobby Green, MVP. Fantastic stuff. Love talking to all three of them, and best of luck to all of them with the fights. I mean, that was entertaining. I don't know about you, but I was having a great time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I think it was Bobby who put it, he's like, what does "may the best man win" mean? And I'm like, I've been waiting for a fighter to ask that for, 7 years now. That was so funny.
Whoever the best man on the night, Bobby, it's great because at first he was all serious, and like, Bobby's a fun guy. I was like, come on, this Bobby, let's have the fun version. Come on. I love talking to that guy. Right, we have got UFC 302 this weekend. We'll give some predictions. We'll talk about that. But first of all, UFC Abu Dhabi was announced. Main event. What's the main event again?
Umar Nurmagomedov versus Corey Sandhagen.
Logical fight to make. I think whoever wins that will be next for the winner of Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili. It's a tough one for both of them. I think stylistically, they're both tall. They're both great. They're both very well-rounded. Of course, Umar's undefeated, but that's a fantastic fight. There's also Chito Vera coming back against the Everson Figueiredo. Tough fight. tough fight for Cheeto there. It's not a given, far from it. So that's a fantastic fight. And I'm going to reach out to Cheeto, see if we can get him on Monday's show. That'd be good. And then also, this is the one that I think shocked a lot of people. Vicente Luque, who was last in action against Joaquin Buckley, taking on the returning Nick Diaz. And I saw, apparently, according to Twitter, apparently he was calling for George St. Pierre. He was calling for Kamaru Usman. He was calling for nothing but the biggest names. You know what I mean? I tell you what, Nick Diaz is an absolute legend of the sport. He just is. I mean, if you look at the resume, he was fighting bloody God knows how long ago, 2002 maybe. I mean, the longevity in the career, the attitude that he's always had, the excitement that he brings to every fight, you can't, it's undeniable. But last time out against Robbie Lawler, he looked old. He looked a little slower. But we all have bad nights at the octagon. We all have bad nights in the office, so, and I did see footage of him recently sparring. He was looking lean. He was looking in shape. He was hitting the bag. He looked smooth. He looked crisp. You know what I mean? And Nick Diaz being who he is at the core of himself, which is a fighter to the T, him and his brother. And this is a big opportunity for Nick Diaz to come back, beat somebody ranked and say, hey, look, listen, I ain't done yet. Could you imagine, man? Unbelievable.
Yeah, I was super shocked, obviously, I think, as a lot of people were when this announcement was made, not only that Nick was coming back, but that he was fighting ranked opposition. But then I took a look at it. I'm like, wait a minute. If Nick Diaz is making the commitment to cut down to 170, he's not going to be super fluffy like he was at 185 when he fought Robbie Lawler the last time. Like, this seems to me like someone who's taking it seriously and is going to make that kind of a commitment and that kind of a sacrifice in training camp to be able to make the walk or at least make it on the scales of 170. And that Nick Diaz, I'm super excited to see. And against somebody like Vicente Luque, I think that's a winnable fight for Nick Diaz. Think about it like this: 10 years ago, right? I think it might have been even longer than 10 years ago. He got that marijuana suspension, and we were like, well, that's the end of Nick Diaz's career. Now it's 2024. He's fighting a ranked opponent, and I'm like, it's a coin flip.
Yeah, well, it kind of is a coin flip. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Because Joaquin Buckley, Vicente Luque, he's tremendous. We all like the guy. He's a great fighter, but Nick Diaz is one of those guys. He didn't look great last time, but he's also, you can't underestimate him. They're human beings at the end of the day. It's like I said with Dustin Poirier and Islam Makhachev. Islam's only a human being. Do you know what I mean? And Dustin's coming into this one extremely motivated. And in the sport of mixed martial arts, anything can happen, So that gives us a good segue into UFC 302, to be honest, because Islam Makhachev is quite rightly a big favorite coming into this one. We spoke about it at length on Monday, so we're not going to retread all of it. But in terms of biggest underdogs, is if Dustin beats Islam, he would join that list. I did a list of them on my YouTube channel a few days ago. Biggest underdogs, obviously the biggest one ever was Matt Serra defeating George St. Pierre. Then it was Holly Holm defeating Ronda Rousey. I was on the list, beating Luke Rockhold. Who else was on there? I'm trying to think now.
I mean, Strickland versus Izzy has to be on there.
Strickland versus Izzy was one of them, yeah. I mean, I have the bloody list hit somewhere. Oh, go on. Let's go down. So,
betting upsets. Okay.
Let's have a look. Shauna Dobson, Holly Holm, Matt Serra, George St. Pierre, Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes.
Yeah.
Mike Jackson, Dean Barry, that wasn't one I was looking for. TJ Dillashaw, Henan Barao, Frankie Edgar, BJ Penn, Rose Namajunas, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, that was on the list. Michael Bisping defeats Luke Rockhold, and Gabriel Gonzaga versus Mirko Cro Cop. Yeah, and this is the world that we're living in, mixed martial arts, and Islam has been knocked out, as I said to Bobby before, little right hand. Granted, that was a long time ago. You learn from your losses. What's your prediction, Harrington? I'm sure everyone's waiting on the edge of the seat to hear your analysis.
I mean, look, I think they should be, because there's a look, in my mind, there's a chance to profit this weekend, right? Like Dustin Poirier
How's that 50 grand coming along, Harrington?
I know.
I made a claim yesterday that if Corey Sandhagen actually does go off as a plus 300 underdog in Abu Dhabi, I'm bringing back the ladder just to put everything on him, because you can't make Corey Sandhagen a 300 underdog. That's nuts. Just like you can't make Dustin Poirier a plus 400 underdog. I don't care if he's fighting King Kong. It's still Dustin Poirier. I've seen him overcome the odds before.
Listen, we just heard the world's strongest man saying that they would not fight a gorilla. Dustin Poirier, who is not the world's strongest man, taking on King Kong. I'm sorry, that's a minus 4,000 underdog. Okay, so
maybe.
plus 4,000, whichever way around it is. So please, come on.
The point I'm making is, as you said, this is just a man, right? And you know, I've seen Islam get taken into deep waters by Alexander Volkanovski, and I do firmly believe that if there was 30 more seconds on that clock, Alexander Volkanovski would be in the champ category, right? Like, he had Islam in a pretty bad way towards the end of round 5. I think Dustin Poirier, right, if he doesn't let the moment become too big, if he doesn't get too wrapped up in, you know, this is my last shot, I got to capitalize, I'm going to start jumping for guillotines in the first round. If he does what he can do, keep pressure on Islam Makhachev and take it into the later rounds, I don't see Islam being able to match him step for step in rounds 3, 4, and 5.
Well, I understand what you're saying, of course, but what you said there is kind of reminiscent of what Conor McGregor said about Diaz and Leon Edwards. If there was more time left in that fight, Diaz would have finished him. Okay, but there wasn't more time left in that fight. That's if, buts, and maybes. The sport is designed over 3 rounds or over 5 rounds, and it's what you do in those rounds that matters. You can't look into it and say, well, if there was longer left in the fight, he would have done it. Well, he didn't do it, and that's no disrespect to Volkanovski. I understand why Dustin is an underdog. It's because of how good Islam's performing. I think stylistically, you look at Khabib's performance over Dustin, and you can draw a lot of similarities and parallels. Khabib's going to be there as well, and I think he brings a different energy, just being around and that mentorship and how serious everything is. And like, you know, I remember, you know, as a child, and anytime, you know, my martial arts coach or someone that you look up to as a mentor, like there was a guy that was involved in my life a long time ago, and like, you know, you don't want to let this person down. And it's a different energy when they're there, when they're in the corner, when they're with you every single step of the way. Khabib's going to be there. He doesn't want to let him down. He doesn't want to disgrace the legacy of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, the late great guy that started all of this team and stuff like that. So I do think that makes Islam more dangerous. I do have Islam winning the fight. That is my pick. But it's MMA. Anything can happen. It wouldn't surprise me. I think Dustin's under a lot of pressure. I do think, though, as I said to Anthony Monday, Islam's going to be more economical with his takedown attempts. And I think once he does secure one, if and when that happens, I think he's going to maximize on it. I'm not necessarily saying he's going to finish him, but I think Dustin's going to struggle to get back to his feet. Yeah, I've got Islam winning the fight.
Why do you think Dustin is under more pressure? I mean, just from somebody who's been in this position before, because in my mind, Dustin Poirier is going into this saying, win, lose, or draw, there's a decent chance I hang these gloves up. I'm bringing my daughter to see me fight. She's never seen me fight in person before. I just wanted to get that experience. Like, this feels like Dustin Poirier's kind of let all that anxiety go, where it's like, I don't have to worry about this. Islam is worried about a possible super fight with Leon Edwards.
No. What it is because much like Anthony, much like a lot of fighters, they put their whole being and purpose into becoming the champion. You know, there comes a certain point because in the UFC, it is different from boxing. You don't need to be a champion to make good money. Granted, the champions make the most money, but there's across the board. Like, I was routinely making $425,000 for every fight that I had, right? For most fights that I had prior to being the champion. That's a shit ton of money. You know, and for a long time I was paid that. And this is back in the early days as well. In boxing, you don't get a sniff of that. Unless you become a champion, you ain't making those kind of paydays. And I'm not talking about boxing versus UFC. So what I'm saying is, yes, Dustin's made a lot of money and he's got other ventures outside of the sport. But I spoke to him after he lost to Khabib. And then since then, he's fought Charles Oliveira and he lost to that. There's pressure on Dustin because This is what he needs. This is for him to validate everything because he's already got the money. He's already acclaimed the respect and the monetary value of the fight career, but he wants that belt. He wants that title. He wants to be able to once and for all to raise his hand and say, I'm the best on the planet at what I do. And every fighter that takes their fight career seriously, that's what they want. There's fighters that just want to make a few quid, make a few bucks, and that's all well and good. But the real fighters that are in the pursuit of greatness, the money's great, but they will take being a champion without sounding like a wanker, having one of those Hall of Fame trophies right behind them. That's what you want. You want the money, great, granted, but you want that. You want to have the pride of saying, I was the best. I was the man. And this is the final chance for Dustin to achieve that. And granted, pressure makes diamonds. It does, whatever. All corniness aside, there's a lot of pressure on Dustin this weekend, which he has put on himself, which he is welcoming, which he has designed. He's done this. He said this. He's saying, this could be my last fight. My daughter's going to be there. No man alive can beat me in front of my children and all that shit. That's what he wants, though. He wants to feel that pressure because through that, it's going to help build him to be the best version of himself. So there is a lot of pressure. For Islam Makhachev, he's even spoke about fighting for many more years. His career's still going to be great. He's got a massive trajectory. All right, if he loses, he loses. But he could very well become champion again down the line. He's still a young man. He's still in his prime. And I still think Islam wins. But I would never be happier to be wrong.
There's a picture been floating around Twitter recently and shows Islam's leg that has a massive staph infection on it.
Oh, zoom in on that, Brian. Oh, you have on the right side. Yeah. Look at that. No. You're good. I saw it. My one eye. I didn't see the picture on the right hand side. That's staph. That is staph. No question about it. It's created.
Tony Ferguson would kick him in it.
Well, yeah. Of course you would. Just like George St. Pierre, I knew he had one eye and didn't see it at that side, so the left hook was put on the plan. If you see that, you do whatever you can to win the fight. The problem isn't taking kicks in the leg. It's what the staff's going to do to him, what it's going to do to his performance, his ability, his stamina, his just perseverance in general throughout the fight. I've never had, I'm still feeling the effects of a little staph infection here, but not staph like that causes the skin to break. I've never had that. I've never experienced it, but it's supposed to be very nasty. Remember, Benoit Saint-Denis, his last opponent had that. He got very tired. And granted, we spoke about it on Monday. He was emptying the tank and redlining, but that makes it interesting.
No, especially, like for the kind of style that Islam has. You know what I mean? Like for somebody who is, maybe not redlining like a Benoit Saint-Denis, but certainly using that much wrestling. Saint-Denis, sorry. Using that much wrestling is exhausting. And like I said, there's some part of me that's just hoping like Dustin Poirier is not trying to get that highlight reel, first, second round knockout, not trying to jump. Don't be silly. Jump the gilly. Just let me see what Islam looks like in the fourth round against somebody like Dustin Poirier, who I know knows how to finish once he's there.
Yeah, getting to that point, that's going to be the hard part. Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Sean was saying that, he's the better fighter on paper. There's no way he loses this fight, essentially. If he goes out there and fights his fight, he wins this fight. I think Sean probably gets the job done here. I think Sean even said himself, Paulo's kind of basic. He said, but that doesn't mean he's not dangerous. I agree. I think Paulo probably hits harder. I think he takes a better shot. But I think Sean's got better defense. I think that jab is going to be piercing. I think that jab is going to bust him up. I don't think either man's going to grapple too much, even though Sean is probably the better grappler. But if Paulo does take him down, it won't be a problem for Sean. Sean, if he tries to take Paulo down, will probably be unsuccessful. He has great takedown defense, very strong hips, good reflexes. He was able to stop Yoel Romero, for crying out loud. Hold on. Doesn't mean Sean couldn't time it perfectly. I think Sean's the better boxer. I think he's going to, pick him apart, win by decision.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about essentially a boxing match in MMA. Neither one of these guys, as you were saying, is much of a takedown threat there. I don't see many kicks getting involved, so I'm going to go with
Paolo's a good kicker, man. What are you talking about? Those left high kicks, the spinning kicks, and all the rest of it. By the way, Paulo Costa landed a spinning wheel kick on Robert Whittaker. They almost knocked him out, and Santiago Ponzinibbio knocked Sean Strickland out with the spinning kick. So, and the left high kick that Paulo was throwing against Robert Whittaker was lightning fast. So he has got more tools at his dispense or in his arsenal compared to Sean, I would say.
Maybe not, Mike. Here's another picture floating around on Twitter.
No.
Paulo Costa on his left foot with a nasty something or other.
Yeah, no, do you know what that is? That's a mat burn. You get them all the time. That, I mean, it's a bad one. It's a bad one. Maybe the Brazilian shower wasn't helping it out. Maybe it got a little infected. You know, maybe it's a little staffy. But that's a mat burn, I think, because I get them all the time. Even when I just hit pads recently back in Manchester, I got some mat burns. And the worst thing is because it opens up the skin like that. And then when you lie in bed at night, the duvet's on you, and then you move the sheet and it pulls against the bare skin. It doesn't sound bad. I'm telling you, it's so annoying. And when you're in a training camp, your feet get cut to bits on the canvas. It's horrible. So Sean Strickland wins that one. Mihailo Oleszejczuk versus Kevin Holland. I got to go with Kevin. Even though Oleszejczuk is not a man to underestimate.
No, that guy is a very, very, very hard hitter. I don't know. I Kevin Holland has a chin on him though, you know, and I don't know if Oleszejczuk has a second, third, fourth option, you know, like it seems like my power is going to work or it's not. And I don't know that it is against Kevin Holland.
Yeah. Well, Oleszejczuk's got some good little wrestling on him, to be fair. He hits takedowns as well, but I don't know if that's a good idea against Kevin Holland, who's very long, as Anthony said, legit Travis Lutter black belt as well. So best of luck to everyone. There's a little recap of those fights and predictions for you. We'll do some questions now, but I got to say, Bobby Green, MVP, and Eddie Hall, once again, thank you for your time. If you have a question, send it into bympod@gmail.com.
And if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, make sure to subscribe. Leave us a 5-star rating, positive review. It really helps out on those platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new video drops. And if you want to catch over 500 episodes you can't find anywhere else, completely ad-free and totally uncensored, head to gasdigital.com. Use the promo code BYM14. Get a 2-week free trial. Check out over 20 great shows on the network.
All right, so first question we got here today is from our friend up north, Kurt Young.
What up, Kurt?
What's up, believe you me? Love the podcast all the way here from Alberta, Canada. Kurt here. Just got a couple questions for you. Do you think that we'll ever see Khabib back in the cage again, given his financial troubles that he seems to be going through? I don't know how true they are. In the news, you never know what you can believe. And also, do you think that we'll ever see Conor McGregor with a world championship wrapped around his waist, whether it be the BMF or a world title? Third question, Anthony and Michael, what are you good at home? Do you fix things in your house? Are you a good mechanic? Do you know how to do carpentry? What are you good at around the house if the wife says, you must fix this? All right, talk to you guys later. Fuck you, Harrington.
3 good questions there, to be fair. Thank you, Kirk. What was the first bit?
Do you think Khabib ever comes back in the octagon due to financial troubles?
Yeah, so this is actually a really interesting talking point. As our friend said there, I mean, it's been well documented, and we touched on it briefly. Apparently, allegedly, Khabib's going through some financial difficulty. I don't know if it's financial difficulty, but there's reports of, unpaid taxes and things like that, and potentially the government seizing property and stuff like that. We don't know the ins and outs. We don't know the details. But if we just take that as face value, just for the sake of the discussion, and we don't know the details, Khabib is a very wealthy man. I'm sure he's not having financial troubles. Just because you owe some taxes doesn't mean you can't just pay the taxes. I'm sure Khabib has enough wealth to be able to cover that. But let's just lean into the story for the sake of a bit of gossip and to answer the question and get to the good stuff. We are seeing Khabib around the MMA world a bit more. We are seeing Khabib in the corner this weekend with Islam. We are seeing him training Islam. And apparently he wasn't going to do that anymore because of the travel, because of the time away and all the rest of it. And he's done that. He's been there, done it, got the T-shirt, and he doesn't want to do it. He will help them in camp in Dagestan. And outside of that, he will remain put in Dagestan. So if you're a conspiracy theorist, you could put all of that together and go, oh, he's coming back. Conor McGregor was talking about it and said, he's a rat. He's a rat. And look at him. I will welcome him back. I will welcome the little rat back because he's got all that money to pay and he can't afford it. And ha, 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 ha. And again, there could be some validity to that. That could be merely coincidence in him being a good teammate to Islam or a good mentor and coach and just wanting to ensure, because this is a big fight and it's against Dustin Poirier and he recognizes the threat and maybe he just misses being around it a little bit. You know, that's the most exciting part after all. You want to be at the fight, you know? So we don't know. Maybe, maybe not. The other question was...
Will McGregor ever hold a belt again? BMF, world title, anything?
I've said it before, if Conor beats Michael Chandler, he will have the option of 3 belts. We were talking about it with MVP. Conor's called out Leon. Leon called out Conor for Madison Square Garden in November. If Conor beats Chandler, that fight will happen. If Conor beats Chandler, that fight's going to headline Madison Square Garden. Over John Jones.
Wow.
Yep, over Jones and Stipe. Or he could challenge Islam. He can fight for 155. Islam ain't going to have a problem with that. Not one issue. Red panty night after all. Also, there's the BMF belt. And I said this and people said, why are you riding Conor so hard? So I'm not riding Conor. I am stating the facts. He's the biggest star in the sport. He beats Michael Chandler. He has a history at 170. This will be his 3rd fight at 170. Leon wants it. Conor wants it. 155 is the champ. 145, he was the champ. He's got to win over Max Holloway. Max Holloway is the BMF. He's got all the options in the goddamn world. Winning them, I don't know. But there's a possibility for it. And then the final one, and you can jump in on this one. Am I good at anything around the house? The immediate thought process to that is no. I always joke and say I suck. But I don't. What's your answer, Harrington?
Well, I mean, you know, strictly due to like anger issues over the years, I've gotten pretty good at spackling. So that's
what's spackling?
It's like, you know, where you take like you know, you punch a hole in the wall and you know, put a little newspaper in there and you take the spackle, put it over, sand it down, paint it so it looks like nothing ever happened. I can do that pretty well.
Okay. Yeah. So like I've never been the most handy, you know, but if I take my time and I dedicate some proper time to doing it and I go and get the right tools, you need the tools. If you've got the right tools, it's pretty straightforward. And I do enjoy it now and again. And as I'm getting older, I'm going to build. I'm going to do some carpentry work. I was in Costa Rica and we had a beautiful cabana on the beach, which we didn't pay for, by the way. The manager hooked it up for free. He said, tomorrow we went on a boat. The boat took us to a private beach. And on the beach, there were these cabanas. And the manager hooked it up. So thank you, Patrick. And I'm led on the cabana. And it's, you know, it's a wooden frame with a mattress on it, essentially. And we've got a swimming pool at the house. And I said, I'm going to build a cabana. And Rebecca's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, no, I am. I can do this. I want a good little woodwork project. But yeah, I'm no handyman. But if I put my mind to it, I can do it.
I was going to say, you sanded down that table recently, right?
Sanded down a table and stained it with varnish. Anyone can do that.
Okay.
I can help you build a cabana.
Yeah, there you go.
The Copa cabana.
I'm actually excited.
One.
My father-in-law asked me to help him build like a cement patio in his backyard this year, and I've never done anything like that. And that's something I'm actually like, all right, let's go. This is going to be backbreaking, but I'm excited to see like what starting from zero and what a finished product's going to look like.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of groundwork. So I used to work for builders and stuff like that. So we'd lay the foundations for conservatories or extensions and stuff like that. And then we'd build the extensions and walls and stuff. So, you know, I know a little bit. I'm far from a builder, but if I put my mind to it, and the main thing is carving out the time. If I've got the time to do it, I'm okay. And I do enjoy it. And certainly now as I'm getting older. Brian, we'll do one more question. and then we'll go about our lives.
All right, this one is from Henry.
What's up, guys? My name's Henry from Maidenhead, and I've got a question for both of Anthony and Mike, but I guess more so Mike, because he was actually there. I just seen a clip which reminded me of Poirier versus Hooker. I wanted to know, is it the most brutal fight that you've ever seen? I honestly forgot how brutal this fight was, but I think what reminded me was like the sound of the shots in the apex, but then also hearing like Mike react to the shots in real time. And then another thing is seeing Dan Hooker get carried out on a stretcher into the ambulance after, and also the fact of him never being the same. I just wanted to know, what was it like for you being there watching that live, Mike, if you remember, and then in general, like other most brutal fight that you've seen, Anthony?
Yeah, thank you, brother. Good question, and obviously ties into this weekend. And that fight right there, when you look at it, Dustin Poirier and Dan Hooker, that is a perfect example of two people going out there and just leaving it all in the octagon. You know, there comes a point where you're in a fight, and yeah, you got to be defensively minded, and you're using skill and technique and all the rest of it. And then there comes a point over 5 rounds where you're just fighting on instinct, and it's just you just you know, you're in the zone and you're taking damage and hits and blows, and it's just pure will and heart that pushes you on. And both men were beating the shit out of each other. And maybe because it was in the apex and the acoustics, and it was during the pandemic, so there wasn't even a crowd there. Now, sometimes in the apex, it gets really loud. You know, some of those small crowds really bring a lot of energy. But back then there was no one. Do you know what I mean? And you could really hear the shots. I was like, oh my God, what the f-? And then, of course, Dan Hooker kept kicking Dustin in the balls. and Dustin even went, listen to Bisping. Listen to, because
knock it off.
I mentioned something about it. Yeah, that was a vicious fight. And that just shows you what Dustin Poirier is willing to endure. And Dan Hooker, for that matter, you know. And you might dismiss Dustin Poirier when you think, well, look, he struggled with Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's a tremendous fighter on the feet. He beat Jalen Turner on the feet. That's not an easy thing to do.
With a broken arm.
With a broken arm. There you go. Yeah. I think Dan Hooker, with all these crazy tattoos and the midlife crisis that he's going through at the moment, you know what I mean? It's easy to laugh. Because the tattoos, Dan, come on, I love you, brother. I'm a massive fan of your work. But he's like, I don't know. There's a lot of tattoos going on now. Hey, fair play. So, yeah, I don't know. Most violent fight, that might be one of them. I don't know. There's a bloody lot. What's your most violent that springs to mind?
I think the one that instantly springs to mind is Rory versus Robbie 2. Just for that scene at the end of round 4 where both guys are a mask of blood, forehead to forehead. And then Rory eventually got hit so much in the nose, the rest of his body just shut down. Like, that wasn't a chin thing. That was like your brain will not let you continue.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot. Another one that always comes to my mind, and Dan Henderson, I have no problem with him because of the 2 fights that we shared. It's just because he's just a bit of a dick online and still continues to take shots for some reason. It's like, bro, get over it. We're both grown men, and it was a long time ago, you know. But the fights that he had with Shogun, I mean, those 2, I think it was 2 fights. Those fights he had with Shogun, man, were just unbelievable, you know. And again, it's just another example of will to win and just a lack of concern for your well-being at that point. And it's just, I came here to win, and I don't care what it takes to get that victory. I will go through it. Shogun and Hendo, they threw down, man. That was a legendary fight. Yeah. Right. Anyway, that's it. My next killing. And we got fights to watch on Saturday. Can't wait for that one. We will be back with a big review. So tune in, obviously. Best of luck to everyone competing this weekend. Again, Bobby Green, MVP, Eddie Hall, thank you very much. Hamilton and Brian, thank you very much. Believers, thank you very much.